Chapter 10, A Telegram. I'm really sorry because I'm going to tell you something hard, something difficult in this chapter. Let's begin. Let's begin. As you understand from the title, all happiness disappears. In this chapter, all happiness disappears. Let's begin. While the March family was sitting with Laurie, Hannah hurried into the room with a telegram. Mrs. March read and dropped it to the floor. After that, Joe read it to everyone. It said, Mr. March was very ill and come at once, it said. For several minutes, there was only the sound of crying. Where is Laurie? Mrs. March asked. And she asked him to send a telegram which said she would come. After that, the train would go early in the morning. Hannah got things ready for the long journey. The money, it was the problem. The money for journey was borrowed from Aunt March. Mrs. March wrote a note to Aunt March and she asked for money. Again, Laurie went off to send the telegram that said she would go and take the note to Aunt March. Laurie did everything for them. They were so lucky having a neighbor like Laurie. Emmy and Meg helped their mother to get ready. At that time, Beth went to Mr. Lawrence's house to ask for some wines for her father. But after having learned the event, Mr. Lawrence offered to go with Mrs. March, and he was so old. He was so old. That's why she couldn't accept his nice offer. He went, but he returned with Mr. Brooke and a new idea. Do you remember Mr. Brooke? Laurie's theater. Meg saw Mr. Brooke by the door. When she saw him, she would be happy. She was happy, let me say. The thing that he wanted to travel with Mrs. March made Meg grateful. Mr. Brooke said that, I'm very sorry to hear your news, Miss March. Mr. Lawrence and I think it will be a good idea if I travel with your mother. Meg thought, how kind he is, Meg thought. And this idea made Meg grateful. Laurie came back with a letter and money from Aunt March. Everything was ready. But where was Joe? Joe was absent. After that, Joe came late with some money. $25. She thought that that's to help make father comfortable and bring him home, she thought and said. But when she took off her hat, they understood she had her hair cut to help her father. She had her hair cut just to help her father. Joe's lovely thick hair was cut short, very short. Beth cried, but Joe consoled her by saying that it would be easy to keep it tidy. Don't worry. But Meg cried, how could you? How could you do this? Okay, don't cry, Beth, said Joe. And Beth cried, but Joe consoled her by saying these words. After Beth and Emmy had been asleep, Meg heard Joe crying. She was crying for her hair. And she said that I really loved my hair. And the selfish bit of me is making me cry. Please don't tell anyone, she said. I'll be all right in the morning. After Mrs. March and Mr. Brooke had gone off, the girls returned their daily routine, and Meg and Joe went back to their jobs. And Beth and Emmy helped Hannah to keep the house tidy. Everyone tried hard to be good, to be hardworking, to be helpful. And all of the girls were waiting for the news. The first news was telling them their father was dangerously ill. The later was telling them he was slowly getting better. As you see, the shadow of hard days, hard times fell onto their shoulders. Okay, I finished this chapter. It's a bit touching and moving. I hope you liked it.